Try and do today is show you how you can comment on kids' work and be part of the assessment workflow, and how you can go back and track what your child's been doing and look at how the teacher's been assessing it and be part of the process. And part of the workflow, just to stress, is that what we're trying to do is get students, parents to be part of this assessment process as well, because what we know is most effective is when you're not marking books on their own, but you're marking books alongside the student and you're working alongside the student. So what this is making them own the assessment and working alongside them to support them in that assessment. And what teachers then become is that real guide and actually can check that and check their assessing of their assessment. And what we're trying to do in lessons is get kids to work together with each other, work together with the teacher, but really with those guided groups that we're talking about is really guide their learning. And what we'd love you to be part of, and this is the real challenge I guess, is to be part of that process. So what this allows you to do is when any of the work said before, when they complete modules, it goes to student assessments. And what you're allowed to do here, now you can't submit work, but they can, but you can check it and actually have a voice in it. So if we wanted to look at this bit here they've done, which is one bit of work at random, English Adaptivity Module 1, they've completed that because they've finished all the checkpoints. So what we have here, okay, is what we call an award letter. Now this award letter is the thing that can be added to by teachers, students and parents, and it colour codes, and I can show that in a minute, but you can put your voice to it. And what's important in that is that your voice will allow you to say what you think. It'll allow you to talk to the teacher who can pick these things up, but what else it does, it allows you to be part of that dialogue with your child. So what we have here, okay, is what the area is, the module that we were looking at, the whole module. And what else it was is looking at the checkpoints or the work that they've had. So you get the checkpoints for the 5 areas in this case, and at the end, the final product checkpoint, which is usually in an orange colour. These are checkpoints here. And if you click on these load up into the desktop. So what you can see is at this point here, it's loaded up here. So I go into that, it's there. So you've got these different parts here that's being put into different places. So therefore you can check what that work is. Also what this allows you to do is it allows you to type things. So when you type things in here, this is going to come up as a parent code. So you could say what you thought about when you talked to them. What did your kids see? Did they find it exciting? Was it difficult? Did they get and work through it really easy? You could just be really curious, general sort of questions. You could also then ask them about this assessment part. Now what they can do is, what you see here, okay, is this is what they assess. So what would normally happen here, and I'll show you when I show you one in time in the teacher assessment, you'd have a student assessing that bit first. And you can write your bit here as well. So I think that John is really clear about his assessment. Now what that means, okay, is that you've seen him and you said, well, why have you given it a 3? Because what we have here, okay, is some different things. So when the student has it, you can't change it, but the student can change that from 3 to 1. And what that means in general terms is 3, I'm really confident, 2, I'm okay, there's bits I'm missing, 1, I'm not sure, and if they leave it blank, like these ones here, means I'm not done it at all. So what you can do is not actually know what they are, but be really curious. I see that you're giving that a 3, why? And then get them to show you their work and actually see how confident they are, because you can pick up by the way that people talk about how confident they are, and that conversation is really important as well, because it's really nice that you can get to that level of detail. We will obviously use this to work alongside as teachers, and we co-construct this, but it's really great that you can see some of the words they're doing. So it doesn't mean you have to know it all, but you're part of that conversation right at the end, so you can write down each standard, or not all standards if you want, and at the end you can tell me in the closing bit how well you think they did in that. Did they feel that they were confident? Was there bits missing? Was there bits that you thought in the project that wasn't clear? So it's again about you having your voice. And again, we might need to spend more time on this, but this is a starting point for you to have a voice in this project. So what this allows you to do is, once you've done that, if you press Save Draft, that will then save. So what will happen then is, in the student one, when they go through that process, they can then submit it and send it. And what happens when that happens is that it goes to My Artifacts. And in My Artifacts, you can check the work they've been doing. So what happens here is you can see where there's been teacher assessment. So what will happen is that once that's been done, it goes View Teacher Assessment. So what you can see is the student has looked at it. So if we go into this bit here, go to View Teacher Assessment, this will then give you experts, and I'll show you different ones here. So the expert would be the teacher, and the teacher then would put down what they think, and they can put their parts. But if I show you the other bits here, and we go to progress again, so you can pick up all of these bits by looking in their My Artifacts, which gives you all of their work, all their bits of all the projects they're doing. We can look at maybe this one here. Let's have a look at this. It's slightly different. Now what this does, it picks up the different colours. See, what you can see is that's the researcher, which is the student. So what you can have on the same bit is, this is your bit in white. So the bit that you've got is you've seen the student, what they've said. You can also have the expert's comments there. So it's a way of centralizing all that information together. Now obviously a video like this is not going to get that part, but the actual thing that you can be part of when you comment in that is that your voice is part of that award letter. So you can see all of those comments. So when a teacher looks at it, they can see what you've written. When the student looks at it, they can see what the student's written and the teacher's written. And from that there, we can co-construct where kids are. And finally with that, and I know this has been a long bit to take in, if we go to progress again, is you've got My Artifacts like that. You can look at My Standards. Now that means they can start to build up where they are in each different course. So you can look at how they're doing in each part. So if that's in year 7 and 8, that will just be mainly in English and Maths, because they're the two areas that we're focusing on. But when we get to year 9, 10 and 11, it will be in the areas they're doing GCSE. So for example, you can check, if we go to Maths, it brings up the Maths standards. So therefore you can see what areas they're working on. So it looks at the things that all these things in 3 they're doing really, really well in. These areas here they're not doing so well in. And you then can click on that, and that will then take you to the projects that they could do to actually make that better. So it's really driving where they are so you can see this. And this then will show you all the work they've been doing. And then when you look at the course progress, when they start to build this up, sorry, the course list, you can see the courses they're doing and how well they're doing them. Again, we're building that at the moment, but what you've got really clearly here is the student assessments, so you can see them and being part of that process, but then tracking that and seeing what people have written. So again, it's building up all those things. You also then have that by date, but you can also view all the teacher assessments. So when teachers have assessed the work for your child, you can check them in all the different subjects. When it was submitted, when it was evaluated, what teachers said. So you can actually pick up very quickly about what these reports are and what teachers are actually saying in a really quick way. And again, the question then answers is, why do I need to have a parents' evening the same way? Because I can really pick up the phone or I can email and really have that constant day-to-day work with my teacher and with my child's work.